Next up, so I've been requested, sorry. Hiya, ghosties, this is my ghostie. I'm running out of breath and I'm running out of time because I'm really sleepy. I want to go sleep. Anyway, so we have the reviews and requested the review towards CN's elephant suits. I know. So we're gonna be in the big one. I know many of you and the majority of you already seen these, and also I'm late for the reviewing because I didn't want to do this. To be honest, I didn't want to do this, but since it's been requested, I must do it. Anyway, thank you, Lily, for requesting. I didn't know you're still a fan of mine. Many people ended up moving on from me because I suck anyway. So I'm gonna point out mistakes. Of course. You're just gonna say, but you're gonna ruin CN's special moment. I'm basically ruin everything. I could even ruin your life. I'm not too sure what I'm saying, but I could ruin anything. So I'm just gonna say that the body shading is a bit weird in my opinion, because if you're gonna look for the shade on the arm, you could expect the same shading area under the chin, which is not, because the shading area under the chin is much lighter than this one, and also looks a bit grey too, more like a browny grey. Which I don't understand why that is, because the most darkest part of your body that could be shaded, anime-wise, has to be under the chin, because that's where the most shaded area is going to be. But since they actually mostly shaded the part of the arm, why? Because you have to know that the shading areas are the same all over the body, because your body could be the same shade. Which it looks very funny to me. I know it's supposed to be very special to CN to have these very exclusive, very massive suits, but I'm very kind of picky when it comes to shading to the body, because I do put a lot of time into shading the body to the right shading. And when I see this, it's like, oh gosh, look at that. The arm is more darker than the whole torso. And her face, which her face never gets shaded anyway. Even when the hair is literally above her face, literally, I'm gonna point out this area here. So the light is more like pointing it that way, if I'm correct. So the hair must be going this way if it comes to shading. So it might be going downwards. But we don't see any shading to the face, which is like, okay, but that's literally on everything we see on Nikki, so... But looks, the arm is literally looking out of place. Everything else looks very pale, but the arm looks very darker than the rest of her. But overall, this suit, it's very nice. I don't know if her legs is the same shade as her arm. I'm not too sure, but you need to know that skin shading is more important too than just the actual suit. So if people want to put on the full bloody pose, you must think that they want to have at least the same shades to the arm, because it looks a bit weird when you have the arm that's darker than the rest of you, which it doesn't make any sense. But although I do like the look on this, I really do. I do like the look on the suit. It's very aesthetic and reminds me of some of my friends that's into magic. I know, cute, right? Cute. Okay, so we had the Kimi suit, which my most favorite part of her is the chest area, because I've never seen LN or any devs in that matter actually focusing more on the chest area, where you actually have your collarbone popping out of Nikki's body, which we never see that before. Never. I do pay attention to the body a lot of Nikki's, because I do like to mimic it when I draw it, but again, there's a couple of more mistakes with the body shading, because the hands are darker than the chest and under the chin area, and her face doesn't seem to be touched by any of the shading from the hair either, because the hair is literally flipped forward and in front of her face, which you don't see any shading of that flip of the hair on her face. And the shading area has to be pointing, okay, that makes sense now, but it still would actually show that the hair is above her face to make it shaded onto her face, which is I don't know. But I would focus more on body shading and make the right bloody shades towards the torso, neck, and hands. Don't just shade it darker for the hands and then leave the rest of it as pale shading, and also blended it well under the chin too. But when we look at the hands, it's not blended that well. So I'm like, what's going on though? How come the shading under the chin looks well done, and then we have the hands, which is like, you could see where it's cut off. But I do like this chest area where they make it look pop out. That's stunning. I do like this suit, and I do like her pose. It looks very cozy, like she's really just sat there, you know. With most of her sitting poses, though, they don't look very comfortable. But this one looks very nice. I do like this one. But another down point is that the hair in the default pose isn't relaxed. I'm gonna point that out. I will and always will. I do like a little lion. I do like ornaments. I do like a background, but she doesn't really wow me as much. First impressions, she did. With basically majority of the suits, first impressions did. So I'm gonna be very critical when it comes to body shading, and I had the rights to do it. Okay, there's another example, a perfect bloody example. If you pay attention to the arm once again, and you pay attention to under her chin and her chest, what do you see? Again, another dark shading to the arm, and again, the chest and under the flipping chin is not even shaded the same shading. I can see next to 4 or 5 shade differences in this arm than the differences on the chest and neck, which I only see at least 2 or 3 different shades on her neck, and then next to nothing on, well, I think it's like at least two layers of shading on her chest. But how is it that on Kimi's represented suit, the chest area is popped out, and then we look at Luna's representative suit, the chest area isn't, and is much lower from the neck, which mine isn't like much lower from the neck, because it literally, at this point, if she's gonna pose like this, it should be a bit higher up here. So it is literally, I can't believe I'm saying this, but they made it a bit weird to look at. If you look at your collarbone and you may feel it, it's literally right at the bottom of your neck. It's not a couple of inches lower. No, it's not. Overall, I do like the suits. I do and adore the suits. This suit is stunning. It's literally my stepdad's favorite one when I showed him too. So I'm not gonna completely hate any of these suits, because at the end of the day, the artists are making it better and bigger. So 18k going towards these suits is not that, wasteful, because you are spending a lot for these massive, magnificent suits. And here's her ornaments. Ta-da. Last but not the least is the, I think it was Bobo representative suit. I'm not too sure. I think it's Bobo, because after watching Ivy and what she's saying... Oh, sorry, I'm kind of tired. Okay. So, I'm not very disappointed with this, because at least they kept to the similar shading, even though the arms are again a bit darker than her under chin. And she's a bit covered up too, so it's really hard to tell whether the arms are a different shade from the rest of her. Her face and every other face don't get to be shaded. I don't know why that is, but they don't seem to shade any areas of the face, which is like, why? Then we don't get to see the realism in the face. Which is fine. Oh god, I need to go to sleep. Alright. So we got her full pose here. We got her ornaments here, and she's indeed the last suit. By force, she is the last suit. She can't really pick her to complete her as it's a second, third, or anything. So she's a literal 4th suit, and that's where the 18k is going towards. I question the facial expression, because she's either scared or sad. or both. I mean, I don't blame it because this is dead puppet hands almost touching her face, so I would be crying too. If it was there like a floating puppet hand that's like closer to touching my chin, I'd be like, no, okay, I have sensitive skin, so I don't trust your robotic wooden hands, so get lost. You know? But her eyes do seem a bit wide for a sad face. But they do seem a bit wide for a perfect scared face. But her facial and eyebrows expression is suitable for a sad face. So we have a slash scared slash sad face and slash whatever else is mixed with this facial expression that I never seen before mixed into one thing. Am I being critical? Yes, because I think they need to focus more on the shading areas when it comes to arms. It's literally hard for me to keep to the same shading under the chin with the face because gosh damn that thing is hard. But overall they have made different skin tone shades when it comes to paleness of Nikki's body, so it looks like she had a little tiny bit of a spray tan when she's representing any of these suits, well, cosplaying if you like. So she's a bit darker than these three. You know, Ace representative suits is a bit darker than these three. So oh my god, I'm so tired, I'm sorry. Anyway, I do like them all. I do. Actually, isn't doesn't come to what I'm trying to say. I love these suits, but I have to at least point out the mistakes in the shading area and the disproportion. I don't know if it's that unproportion. Don't know. Basically out of proportion areas such as Luna's representative pose, which, like I said, the chest or collarbone area is literally right at the bottom of your neck, so there is no couple of inches lower. So, because it's connected to your shoulder, you know, so you don't have your shoulder lower, you know, lower than what it is under your neck. It's literally where your neck ends, so that's where the collarbone comes into. I guess it connects the two, I'm not too sure, but I know it hooks onto your shoulder bone somewhere. But I just end up thinking the proportion of this chest area is a bit questionable because collarbones aren't really lower than the neck. Anyway, I'm just gonna say I do like these suits. They put a lot of time into them, and I do literally just see how the hard work and hard to even draw, like redraw them if you even tried. But I know we have a lot of talented artists in Love Nikki and in CN and in another flipping service they have out there that could literally pull it off. But it might take you a couple of hours. I'm not too sure how long it takes you to draw. Basically, possibly weeks. I'm not too sure. Please don't hate me for saying all this. I know it's supposed to be special to CN. I know that CN players have been waiting for this announcement coming from Irene, the way she was looking forward to these on her Instagram. But there are some mistakes I would like to point out. I'm not going to be completely positive all the way through. I'm kind of getting bored of being completely positive because I don't want to trigger anyone. That's gone out of the window. I will be negative whether you like it or not. Have a nice life. No,